After the assault, many wondered how it all happened. The Soviet intelligence system had revealed exactly what the Germans would do, and American and British intelligence had confirmed it. But Stalin, convinced that the West wanted to push Germany into war with the Soviet Union, remained silent. He avoided anything that might be seized on as a provocation. It was a very complex question for everybody. Against all the evidence, the Soviets had hoped for just one more year of peace.
The unknown war will continue in a moment. To June 22nd, 1941.
In the years before the war, in less than a generation, Russia had created an independent economy. The Soviets had collectivized their agriculture and then initiated a crash program of industrialization. Learned as they labored, hungry for new skills, for mastery of technology. Factories had to have priority over creature comforts. Hydroelectric power, energy for new plants for cars, trucks, tractors. Through the 1930s, the quality of life in the Soviet Union was improving. There were more goods in the stores. There was no luxury, but the people were well clothed. They seemed content. In Spain, the Civil War broke out. The first fight against fascism. Hitler and Mussolini backed Franco. The Soviet Union supported the Republicans, and many Soviet citizens volunteered to go. Also on the Republican side were American volunteers of the Abraham Lincoln Brigade. Ernest Hemingway was there. So was Paul Robeson. Soviet pilots fought Hitler's aces in the air over Madrid. The Germans of the Condor Legion had already brought modern warfare to the civilians of Barcelona and Madrid. Bombs had obliterated the town of Guernica, creating a symbol of the horror of war. Picasso memorialized it with a masterpiece. Hitler proclaimed that his Third Reich would last for 1,000 years. In Nuremberg, Munich, Berlin, he declared Germany's right to Lebensraum. And the living space he lusted after lay to the east. Ideas that counted his own, Hitler set out to obliterate. The works of Tolstoy and Whitman, of Hemingway and Darwin, of Voltaire and Heine fed the bonfires. All culture but Hitler's was to be expunged. Today we own Germany, tomorrow the world.
In uns selbst allein liegt die Zukunft des deutschen Volkes.
In 1933, the United States and the Soviet Union signed a treaty establishing diplomatic relations. They hoped for peace. Hitler was on a course towards war. Speaking today of our lands and territories in Europe, he said, we look first and foremost towards Russia.
Deutschland nicht geschenkt erhielten, sondern selbst nicht schaffen mussten.
Hitler had the full backing of Germany's military-industrial complex. What was good for Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party was good for Alfred Krupp, the armaments tycoon. Confidently, Hitler reoccupied the Rhineland, took back the Saar Basin, and absorbed Austria. He seemed unstoppable. Then, at Munich, bowing to Hitler's promise of peace, Chamberlain and Daladier, the premiers of England and France, forced Czechoslovakia to relinquish the Sudetenland. Chamberlain said, in spite of the harshness and restlessness I thought I saw in Hitler's face, I got the impression that he was a man who could be relied upon when he gave his word. For Hitler, Munich was another victory. Others called it appeasement. In London, Chamberlain said it meant peace in our time. When the Nazis entered Czechoslovakia, Poland became the last country separating Nazi troops from the Soviet border. England had already signed a pact with Poland, and France was interested in one. On August 12, 1939, the Soviets proposed a defensive pact with Britain, France, Poland, and other Eastern European states. As part of it, Russia sought permission to move troops through Poland if necessary. By August 15th, the Nazis seemed set to attack Poland. The British and French had sent junior officials to Moscow. They requested a postponement of talks until August 21st. Poland steadfastly refused to allow Soviet troops to pass through. Stalin became convinced that the Western powers hoped to turn the Nazis to the east. On August 21st, Minister of Defense, Vyacheslav, asked Britain and France their intentions about a mutual alliance in view of Poland's attitude. No reply. The Soviets believed they had no choices left. 2 days later, Hitler's foreign minister, Joachim von Ribbentrop, arrived in Moscow. On August 23, 1939, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Non-Aggression Pact was signed. It was an event that stunned the world. For the Russians, it was a way to buy time.
The unknown war will continue in a moment. To June 22nd, 1941.
On September 1st, 1939, Hitler invaded Poland. On September 17th, the Red Army crossed the Polish border, reclaiming territories seized by Poland 18 years before. The pact had only delayed the inevitable. For Hitler and his henchmen, the inevitable was only a matter of planning. The Soviet Union was to be invaded. They called it Barbarossa, after a